Okay, so getting back into our coverage over the X-Men, we're going to pick up with X-Men issues number 51 and 52. Now, this is a two-part story arc where technically to me, it could all been done in one single issue, but still, it is a very good, interesting storyline because it kind of moves the plot line forward when it comes to Bishop and also Dark Beast as well. Because remember, when it came to X-Men Unlimited issue number 10, by this point in Marvel Comics, our Hank McCoy has been captured and locked away by the other Hank McCoy that came from the Age of Apocalypse reality. And so the fake Hank McCoy, Dark Beast, is pretending to be our Beast on the X-Men, but the rest of the X-Men have not realized that their Beast is no longer around. But getting into the opening pages of today's storyline, we do pick up with Bishop and also Charles Xavier. Now, for these two characters, they're currently using Cerebro. Now, when it comes to Cerebro, as we all know, for Charles Xavier, he used this as a way to find other mutants, but also the possibility of somebody joining the X-Men. Now, for Charles Xavier, he reminds us that Cerebro was blown up recently back in the Phalanx Covenant crossover. And so he just got it rebuilt and hoping it's working fine. But then out of nowhere, he finds somebody or something that has a major energy spike. And so for Bishop, he has to go to that location. Now for him, there's only two other people at the mansion right now who can go with him. That would be Gambit and also, of course, Dark Beast. Now, when the X-Men arrive at that location, they kind of find out that it is a moving train that's currently holding all these different people who may or may not be mutants, but they're calling out for help. Now, here's the thing, because for Dark Beast, he goes over to save a young lady's life, but she begins to freak out. Now, it's not because the way he looks, it's because what's been happening on this train. You see, all these different people are technically not mutants. They all have been changed by some kind of virus. And the virus spreads by flesh to flesh. And so every single time someone touches another person, that new person get touched will turn into some kind of different creature or some kind of being. And so that is why she's freaking out, because she saw what happened on the train, that all these different people were slowly turning to creatures thanks to this supposed virus that's spreading flesh to flesh. Now we do jump over to Cyclops and Jean Grey, and you have the two characters over at Jean Grey's parents' house. Now around this time in Marvel Comics, Jean Grey's sister had died, and so when it came to her sister being dead, her children had to stay with Jean Grey's parents. Now here's the thing, because you have Scott right now hanging out with the kids. Now at first it does seem like he's being that cool uncle, but in reality it's Scott right now trying to figure out if the two kids are possibly mutants. Now for Jean Grey, she hates the idea so much because she wants the kids to have a normal life. When it comes to them being mutants, their lives will no longer be easy. And technically, they already had a rough life. They lost their mother. And so it's her saying, like, stop. I don't want to know if they're mutants or not. And if they are, let them slowly learn about their powers by themselves, not with us. Because technically, I want them to live a peaceful life because of what they have gone through already. Now, we also have to remember that around this time in Marvel Comics, Graydon Creed, the son to Mystique and also Sabretooth, who is just basically a human, is running for president. And so he's right now really trying his best to run a whole campaign on the idea of hatred towards the mutant race, where most likely he could win the actual election. Now, as we transition back over to the X-Men who are currently on the train at the moment, we do learn here through Dark Beast that once you do knock out one of these people that has been mutated, they turn right back to normal. Now, right after that, he's then confronted by Mr. Sinister. Now, let's not forget here that Dark Beast is scared of Mr. Sinister for all these different reasons, but this version especially at the moment. We learn more why in the next chapter, but you do have Sinister being able to grab Dark Beast and knock him out, but wants to know who also came with Dark Beast. While you have that going on, you have Bishop and Gambit trying their best to figure out how to stop the train. Now, this is kind of funny because for Gambit, he believes the best way to stop the train is to use his powers. Bishop's kind of like, are you crazy? Because now you turn this train into a bomb that's heading straight into the heart of Manhattan. Like, Gambit, what are you thinking here? Now, for Gambit, he does have a good game plan here, but at the same time, it's kind of risky here because what Gambit is trying to do is charge the entire train with kinetic energy. And for Bishop, he has the ability to absorb energy. And so it's him telling Bishop, like, use my energy right now from the train to use that energy as a way to stop the train. It's going to power you up strong enough to allow you the ability to actually stop it. And the thing is, it does work out. But the problem is that by the time you have Bishop being able to completely stop the plane, he is completely drained. But then out of nowhere, you then have our two heroes get attacked from behind by Mr. Sinister. So just like that, all three characters have been easily taken out by him. But now we kind of have to check in with Rogue. Now, by this point in Marvel Comics, Rogue had officially left the X-Men. And matter of fact, she left because some things going on between her and Gambit. But she's currently in South Carolina trying to rent out a room out of somebody's home. Now, while you have Rogue trying to sign the lease, the child of the homeowner wants to, touch her. But the thing is, the child can't touch her because if the child does, her mutant ability will activate, absorbing the child's mind and memory, but also putting that child possibly in a coma. And so you have Rogue freak out. Now, there is a small news report talking about the mutant race. And the homeowner, she hates mutants. And now she's kind of wondering, did she just rent out her home or her room to a mutant? Now you have Rogue lie to her, but the thing is, yeah, she did. And the question is now, how long can Rogue stay there before the lady finds out that she is officially a mutant and possibly kick her out? Now, as we transition back over to the train that Gambit and Bishop has stopped, well, our heroes are gone, of course, but the police arrived. Now, while you do have police try and gather different pieces of evidence, you have reporters there as well. Somebody appears and he does take the footage that the guy had basically captured on his camera. Now, the guy is very upset and wants to stop our mysterious character, but his partner says, don't do that. You never want to cross Bastion. And so this is kind of our first look of Bastion kind of being brought into the world of Marvel Comics. But as we jump over to our heroes, we do see that our heroes are currently prisoners of Mr. Sinister. Now, here's the thing, because for Dark Beast, he's freaking out because he was kind of hoping that Mr. Sinister would never be able to find Bishop. Because if he did find Bishop and look in the mind of Bishop, then most likely for Mr. Sinister, he would then be able to discover a different reality, better known as Age of Apocalypse. But also for Dark Beast, if Sinister did that, then most likely he would learn about Dark Beast and also Sugar Man and the other characters who arrived in this reality. But it also kind of shows that for Dark Beast, he's really scared of Mr. Sinister. And the thing is, for Dark Beast, he kind of has the right to, because the counterpart for Mr. Sinister back in the Age of Apocalypse reality was a scary dude. Like, you are talking about a guy who was Apocalypse's right-hand man, basically, the top-notch scientist. And so for Dark Beast, he knows if Mr. Sinister is able to discover this other reality and then figure out that Dark Beast is from that other reality, what will Mr. Sinister do to Dark Beast to get all the info out of him? And so for Dark Beast, he's kind of hoping that Gambit will be able to just break out of his binds, free the other two characters, and hopefully escape before Mr. Sinister can learn everything about the Age of Apocalypse reality. But this kind of leads into basically Gambit being able to trick Mr. Sinister into believing that he had got infected by the mutation virus that Sinister had created, as we saw on the train earlier. But in reality, it was just giving Gambit enough time to be able to escape from his binds, but to also allow Dark Beast and Bishop to break free as well. Now, Once you do have Bishop being able to break free, you as Sinister realize that this is a losing battle and he should just go ahead and retreat, which he does. But here's the thing, because before you had Gambit being able to break out Dark Beast and also Bishop, you had Dark Beast overhear the conversation between Gambit and Mr. Sinister, kind of giving us another hint at the idea that there is some kind of connection between these two characters. The question is right now, what is that connection? Now for Dark Beast, he feels like this is great intel to hold on to for a later purpose. But also, why in the world are they in St. Louis? But this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.